Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour, Prime Minister Modi opens India's national games in Dehradun, says sports a key driver of country's holistic development. India lodges a strong protest after 5 fishermen are injured in firing by Sri Lankan Navy, summons Lankan diplomat. Chinese startup DeepSeek sinks AI tech stocks. Trump says it's a wake-up call for US industry. And French, US and Rwandan embassies are attacked in the Democratic Republic of the Congo amid an unrest. The UN says situation extremely worrying. A seismic shift in the world of artificial intelligence is shaking up the global tech markets. The launch of DeepSeek, a low-cost AI model from China, has taken the world by storm, sparking a stock market sell-off and leaving US tech giants reeling. So, what makes DeepSeek different and why is it creating a stir? Nupur Praveen reports from New Delhi.
A week after its launch in the United States, DeepSeek's AI-powered chatbot has become the most downloaded free app on Apple Store. Developed by the Hangzhou-based startup, DeepSeek is gaining global attention for its advanced features and affordability. The app's sudden popularity, coupled with its cost efficiency, sent shockwaves through the financial markets. Nvidia, a key supplier of chips powering AI models, saw its stock plummet 17%, wiping out over $590 billion in market value. The Nasdaq Composite fell 3.1%, while the S&P 500 slid 1.5%, reversing last week's record highs. DeepSeek's efficiency comes at a fraction of the cost of US based AI models. Its R1 model is reportedly 20 to 50 times cheaper than OpenAI's comparable models, which has raised concerns about the competitiveness of US investments in AI, including the recently announced $500 billion Stargate initiative by President Donald Trump.
The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win because we have the greatest scientists in the world.
Let's understand DeepSeek in detail. DeepSeek is an advanced open source AI system. It surpassed OpenAI's ChatGPT to become the top-rated free app on Apple's App Store in several countries. It enables high-performance AI access without the steep costs. It also provides reasoning before delivering a response. This is the first extremely advanced AI system that is available for free to users. But there are lots of AI models out there from OpenAI, Google, Meta, and others. So what's the big deal with DeepSeek? DeepSeek is designed to be affordable, transparent, and accessible. Unlike existing models, it allows users to run AI locally on their own devices, bypassing reliance on expensive servers. Its chatbot even articulates its reasoning before providing responses, distinguishing it from competitors like ChatGPT. Despite its rapid success, DeepSeek faces challenges. Social media users have highlighted censorship issues in the chatbot, particularly regarding sensitive topics about China. While this may hinder its global adoption, the Chinese government's support for AI development could fuel further advancements. DeepSeek's rise has already rattled US markets. Analysts warn that low-cost Chinese alternatives could disrupt the AI ecosystem, forcing companies to rethink their strategies. Hardware manufacturers and chip makers essential to AI's supply chain may feel the squeeze as the competitive landscape shifts. DeepSeek's reliance on older, less powerful hardware poses a long term hurdle. To compete with US giants like OpenAI and Google, it might need to close the commute gap, something that could become increasingly tough under the current US export restrictions. As the global AI race heats up, one thing is clear. DeepSeek has set a new benchmark for accessibility and efficiency, challenging the dominance of US tech giants and reshaping the future of artificial intelligence. But whether it can sustain its momentum in the face of political and technological challenges remains to be seen. Bureau Report, DD India.
US President Donald Trump signed 4 more executive orders on Monday. They eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, reinstate troops discharged over COVID-19 vaccine mandates, reassess policies on transgender service members, and initiate the development of an Iron Dome missile defense system to bolster national security. Advocacy groups strongly opposed these executive orders. Syed Absarul Hassan reports.
US President Donald Trump signed 4 executive orders on Monday focusing on military policies and national defense. The orders were signed while he was flying back from Miami to Washington, D.C. One executive order, elimination of diversity, equity and inclusion (DEI) programs, removes DEI initiatives from the armed forces. Another executive order, titled Reinstatement of Service Members Discharged Due to COVID-19 Vaccines Mandates, reinstates military personnel who were dismissed for refusing COVID-19 vaccinations. The executive order, Reinstatement of Military Policy on Transgender Service Members, aims to evaluate existing policies regarding transgender individuals in the military, potentially paving the way for a ban on their service. Advocacy groups have strongly criticized these plans, claiming the actions would be illegal. During his first term, Donald Trump announced his intent to ban transgender troops from serving in the military. While he did not fully implement the ban, his administration froze their recruitment while allowing active personnel to remain. President Biden overturned this decision upon taking office in 2021. The U.S. military comprises approximately 1.3 million active duty personnel, according to the Department of Defense, while transgenders' rights advocates estimates there are up to 15,000 transgender service members. Official figures suggest the number is in the low thousands. Another executive order, titled Development of an American Iron Dome Missile Defense System, initiates the creation of a missile defense system modeled after Israel's Iron Dome to enhance U.S. protection against aerial threats. Welcoming the executive order signed by Donald Trump, U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth promised significant reforms at the Pentagon. Syed Absarul Hassan for DT India.
Trump on Monday said Microsoft was in talks to acquire Chinese video sharing app TikTok. Trump suggested that he would like to see a bidding war over TikTok, which has 170 million users in the US. The app briefly went offline just before a law requiring its Chinese owner ByteDance to either sell it or face a ban took effect on 19th January. Trump, after taking office on 20th January, signed an executive order seeking to delay by 75 days the enforcement of the law. The US president previously said that he was open to billionaire Elon Musk buying TikTok if he wanted to do so. However, Musk has not publicly commented on Trump's offer. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated Odisha State's flagship economic conclave, Utkarsh Odisha, in Bhubaneswar on Monday. DD India's Amit Mukherjee has more.
The flagship economic and business conclave of India's eastern coastal state Odisha, which was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is set to put the state on the world's economic map. The conclave Utkarsh Odisha is a key step in achieving the vision of Samruddh Odisha 2036 and contributing to the national aspiration of Viksit Bharat 2047.
मैं पूर्वी भारत को देश के विकास का ग्रोथ इंजन मानता हूं और ओडिशा की इस विकास यात्रा में आपका निवेश आपको सफलता की नई बुलंदियों पर पहुंचाएगा.
PM Modi said that even ASEAN countries have also shown interest in strengthening trade and traditional connections with Odisha, and therefore numerous opportunities were opening up in this region, more than ever before since independence. PM Modi, while underscoring the tremendous potentials of Odisha as well as India, also cautioned the industry leaders about the threats of global disruptions.
देश की तेज प्रगति सिर्फ रॉ मटेरियल के एक्सपोर्ट पर संभव नहीं है. इसलिए हम पूरे इकोसिस्टम को बदल रहे हैं, नए विजन के साथ काम कर रहे हैं. यहां से मिनरल निकले और फिर एक्सपोर्ट होकर के दुनिया के किसी देश में पहुंचे, वहां पर वैल्यू एडिशन हो, कोई नया प्रोडक्ट बने और फिर वो प्रोडक्ट भारत में वापस आए. ये ट्रेंड मोदी को मंजूर नहीं है.
The conclave, a key step in achieving the vision of Samruddh Odisha 2036 and contributing to the national aspiration of Viksit Bharat 2047, will highlight Odisha's immense potential as a key player in India's industrial growth story. The event is focusing on 5 key sectors: IT, renewable energy, textiles, chemicals, and food processing.
While offering Orissa to the world as one of the best investment destinations, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi made it very, very clear that India now has to move up in the value-added chain and also secure its supply chain system from the global disruptions. With camera person Rahul Chopra, Amit Mukherjee in Bhubaneswar for DD India.
Addressing a session at Utkarsh Odisha Conclave, India's Information and Broadcasting Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that with a vast pool of young talent, India has great possibilities for a thriving economy with connected infrastructure and multimodal connectivity.
The model that our Prime Minister has given, when we started the 5G journey, we said that talent is going to be the most important thing. So that's why our Prime Minister approved 100 universities where we have set up 5G labs. 73,000 crore in railway, 5,033 crore in telecom, and today IT 7,000 crore. I hope this will be a big win for Odisha, and we are committed that will make Odisha an IT hub.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. Trump reiterates his controversial proposal to relocate Palestinians from the Gaza Strip to Egypt and Jordan. Trains cancelled across Bangladesh as railway employees strike work. And Indian industry shares its expectations from 2025 budget.
झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया.
Timeless, boundless and infinite, the essence of faith, the soul of Sanatan culture, from the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Families reunite in northern Gaza as huge crowds return to their homes following an agreement between Hamas and Israel. Trump reminds Jordan and Egypt to accept more refugees. But in contrast, Qatar reaffirmed its commitment to a two-state solution. Tripti Tripathi reports.
A reunion. That too after more than a year of painful separation. A moment filled with tears, smiles, and an overwhelming sea of emotions. Thousands of Gazans have finally returned to their families. This emotional return follows the implementation of a ceasefire, bringing a pause to the 15-month-long conflict.
The most important thing is that they return safely. It doesn't matter. Thank God. Separation is painful, but the waiting is even harder. I've been waiting for them since morning.
I am so happy, very, very happy to be back with my family, my mother, my sisters. Thank God. Thank God.
As the ceasefire takes effect, the Netzarim corridor is once again alive with movement. Thousands of displaced Gazans are making their way back north, many carrying what little they have left, mattresses, carts, and a small bundle of belongings. But with the joy of reunion comes the grim reality of what was left behind. Many are returning to homes reduced to rubble, facing the harsh aftermath of more than a year of conflict. Under the terms of the ceasefire brokered with Egyptian and Qatari mediation and US support, 33 hostages will be released during the 6-week truce. In exchange, hundreds of Palestinian prisoners will be freed. A second stage of this agreement is set to begin by next Tuesday. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has reiterated his proposal to relocate Palestinians from the Gaza Strip to Egypt and Jordan. Israel's far-right finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, has endorsed the idea, calling it a great solution. In contrast, Qatar has reaffirmed its commitment to the two-state solution, while the Arab League has strongly rejected any displacement, warning against such plans. With agency inputs, Tripti Tripathi for DD India.
Chaos in eastern Congo as M23 rebels tighten their grip on Goma, seizing the city's airport. Dead bodies line the streets, hospitals are overwhelmed, and gunfire continues to echo as resistance from the army and militias falters. Meanwhile, anger spills into Kinshasa, where protesters attacked UN compounds and embassies, including those of Rwanda, France, and the US, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The United Nations warns of an extremely worrying humanitarian crisis with mass displacement, food shortages, and hospitals stretched beyond capacity.
The humanitarian situation in and around Goma remains extremely worrying. And again this morning, our colleagues in the Democratic Republic of the Congo report heavy small arms fire and mortar fire across the city and the presence of many dead bodies in the streets.
Russia launched a drone attack on the Black Sea port of Odessa on Tuesday, damaging several residential buildings and cars and injuring 4 people in the city and the nearby area. Overnight, Russian air attacks wounded 8 people, set a private business on fire, and damaged residential buildings around Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Air Force said it shot down 65 drones and 28 more did not reach their targets in the barrage. India has lodged a strong protest with Sri Lanka following the apprehension and firing on 13 Indian fishermen near Delft Island. 5 fishermen were injured and 2 of them sustained serious injuries. The incident has highlighted ongoing tensions over fishing rights in the Pork Strait, sparking diplomatic interventions to resolve recurring disputes. More in the next report.
India on Tuesday lodged a strong protest with the Sri Lankan acting High Commissioner in New Delhi after the Sri Lankan Navy opened fire on a fishing vessel of Indian fishermen, injuring 5 of them. The Sri Lankan Navy opened fire while trying to apprehend them. According to a statement issued by the Ministry of External Affairs, an incident of firing by the Sri Lankan Navy during the apprehension of 13 Indian fishermen in the proximity of Delft Island was reported in the early hours of this morning. Out of the 13 fishermen who were on board the fishing vessel, 2 have sustained serious injuries and are currently receiving treatment at the Jaffna Teaching Hospital. 3 other fishermen received minor injuries and have been treated for the same. Indian consulate officials in Jaffna have visited the injured fishermen at the hospital to seek their welfare and are extending all possible assistance to the fishermen and their families. Ministry of External Affairs further said that the Sri Lankan acting High Commissioner in New Delhi was called in today morning to the Ministry of External Affairs and a strong protest was lodged over the incident. Our High Commissioner in Colombo has also raised the matter with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Sri Lankan government. According to the statement, Government of India has always emphasized the need to treat issues pertaining to fishermen in a humane and humanitarian manner, keeping in mind livelihood concerns. The use of force is not acceptable under any circumstances whatsoever. Existing understandings between the 2 governments in this regard must be strictly observed. The fishermen issues between Indian fishermen and the Sri Lankan Navy have become a recurring issue in this area. The Pork Strait is a narrow strip of water separating Tamil Nadu from Sri Lanka, which is a rich fishing ground for fishermen from both countries. On 26th of January 2025, Sri Lankan Navy had arrested at least 34 Indian fishermen and seized 3 trawlers for illegal fishing in 2 separate incidents. As of 22nd of November 2024, 141 Indian fishermen were in Sri Lankan custody. Among them, 45 fishermen are under trial, while 96 are currently serving sentences. And a total of 198 Indian fishing vessels are presently in Sri Lankan custody. During President Dissanayike's visit to India in 2024, the fishermen issue was discussed, and the leaders agreed on the need to continue to address it in a humanitarian manner. They also underscored the need to take measures to avoid any aggressive behavior or violence. The leaders expressed confidence that through dialogue and constructive engagements, a long-lasting and mutually acceptable solution could be achieved. With inputs from Ahmed Moeen Farooqi, Raghav Kumar Jha, reporting for DD India.
From a nationwide strike by railway staff to a human rights group report documenting abuses by security forces, unrest continues in Bangladesh. The next report has the details.
Day after Dhaka University suspended exams due to clashes between rival group of students, a strike by railway staff has rocked Bangladesh. Train services have come to a standstill as employees demanding benefits for overtime went on a nationwide indefinite strike. Operations of over 400 passenger trains, including 100 intercity services and over 3 dozen freight trains have been hit, affecting hundreds of thousands of passengers. In a bid to pacify angry commuters, the Railway Ministry has allowed train passengers to use their pre-booked tickets to avail bus services on some key routes. In 2021, the government removed benefits based on overtime work. However, the decision was revoked in 2022. But some latest recruits have been excluded from both extra pay and pension benefits. This is not the only challenge faced by Bangladesh's interim government led by Muhammad Yunus. The situation at Dhaka University is showing no signs of abating despite the deployment of Border Guard of Bangladesh. Students' demand for abolition of quota system in the admission test, which was the root cause of the clashes, remains unresolved. Then there's the report by Human Rights Watch, which has flagged arbitrary arrest and violence following the ouster of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Urging the interim government to implement systematic reforms, the right groups raised concerns over abuses by security forces and attacks on supporters of Hasina's Awami League party. It added that in just over 2 months, police cases have been filed against tens of thousands of people, mostly Awami League members. As of November 2024, murder charges were filed against at least 140 journalists. This comes amid atrocities on Hindu minorities. To add to Yunus's woes, the US government led by Donald Trump has suspended aid to Bangladesh as part of a larger executive order. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar, who is on a 3-day visit to the UAE, met Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. They discussed about further advancement of partnership between the two nations. Minister Jaishankar addressed the inaugural session of Raisina Middle East in Abu Dhabi on Tuesday. In his keynote address, the minister highlighted the significant expansion of India-West Asia engagement in the past decade, driven by strong trade, connectivity and people-to-people linkages. He said India sees West Asia as not only a close partner, but a crucial passage to the world beyond.
This is a region crucial to India's strategic interests. Many of you would be familiar with the intensity of India's ties with the Gulf. Our trade is in the region of about $160 to $180 billion annually. The energy dimension is the most visible one, but there is much more to it than that. Whether it is projects, technology, education, health or services, our presence in the Gulf is both pervasive and crucial.
All right, shifting focus now. India is gearing up for Budget 2025. The Indian industry has high expectations for policy support, fiscal incentives and structural reforms to drive economic growth and resilience. Shyama Mishra reports from Mumbai.
Industry stakeholders expect a progressive budget that prioritizes economic expansion, technological advancements, and environmental sustainability. They anticipate well-structured policies that will not only stimulate business growth but also foster a conducive ecosystem for digital transformation and green initiatives. Sanjay Mariwala, president of IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, says that he is expecting that this budget will maintain consistency in policies. He also expects simplification of procedures, as ease of doing business is a significant area for India and it should be made a prime agenda in all government departments.
Fundamentally, what we look for is maintaining some consistency in policies. Let's not make too many changes every year. Year on year, changes don't spell well for a developed economy. Ease of doing business is a very significant area for India. I think we need to focus on that and make simplification of procedures and ease of doing business a prime agenda for all departments of the government.
Applauding the production-linked incentive scheme, he says it has given great results and there is a need to step up the manufacturing. There should be inclusion of more sectors in PLI, he adds.
I think PLI has given us great results and we need to step up our manufacturing capability and capacities significantly. I think incentivizing companies through PLI is an excellent scheme and it's giving great results. It should include more sectors under PLI.
Anant Goenka, Senior Vice President of FICCI, says boosting domestic consumption and addressing inflationary pressures is a key area that demands attention in this budget. He recommends time-bound consumption e-vouchers for lower and middle-income families to stimulate discretionary spending.
A key focus area that demands immediate attention is boosting domestic consumption and addressing inflationary pressures. We recommend introducing time-bound consumption e-vouchers for lower and middle-income families to stimulate discretionary spending. To combat food inflation, we also propose establishing a food inflation response and strategy team under the PMO's authority.
A balanced approach, one that upholds fiscal discipline while simultaneously encouraging bold investments in innovation and infrastructure, will be instrumental in shaping India's long-term economic trajectory. The Budget 2025 holds the potential to strengthen India's position as a key player in the global economic landscape, ensuring sustainable prosperity for businesses and citizens alike. Shyama Mishra's report for DD India.
The western Indian state of Gujarat is known for its entrepreneurial spirit and infrastructure development. DD India caught up with youngsters at the Gujarat University in Ahmedabad to know about their expectations from the budget.
We are joined in by students at Gujarat University who will be speaking to us on their expectations from the union budget. So we'll speak to a few of them, get their insights, get their opinions on the union budget. What are you expecting this time?
I really want to talk about the telemedicine expansion, as India introduced 90,000 crore for the healthcare sector in 2024-25. There should be investment in the telehealth sectors because for the remote medical consultancies and especially for the rural and the undeserved areas. Research and development are like twin engines which will drive India towards a knowledge-based economy. And what I feel is, in terms of research and development, there should be development for translating the research discoveries. Like, many of us do not know that research discoveries are done, but how are they going to contradict with the real-life applications?
Target of the budget should be clearly towards the nation's growth, which is directly involving the students. And the students' demand right now, being an economic student, I can tell that skill education is the one thing that our nation should mainly focus on.
I would like the government to allocate more funds, not just to create several schemes for startups, but rather also promote it. For example, Gujarat has created iHub, Innovation Hub, but many students have no idea for it. So there won't be any use for all these schemes if the government does not promote them.
Being a youth, we do have a really high expectations for the budget of this year 2025.
This year's union budget with high hopes and expectations from different sectors, and what the government brings for them, also what the government thinks about the youth. With my colleague Jatin Bhatt, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. An expert take on new Chinese AI startup DeepSeek and what it means for the world. India's space agency ISRO gears up for its 100th satellite launch on Wednesday. And a special report from the Mahakumbh at Prayagraj in India.
झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Right, going back to the top story we are tracking here on DD India News Hour. What makes Chinese AI startup DeepSeek different, and why is it causing such a global stir? Joining us is Prasoon Sharma. He knows all about IT, and we'll have to gain insights from him over the next few minutes. Mr. Sharma, welcome to DD India News Hour. Now, I have a few basic questions to ask of you, and I hope your answers will satisfy viewers who are curious to know about DeepSeek but don't know whom to ask. First, now we are told that DeepSeek is open source in sharp contrast to OpenAI. What does it mean, and why is it such a big deal?
First of all, thanks for having me for this interesting topic. Yes, it's open source. They launched their the code in US market. And what does it mean is that normally, like if you are using ChatGPT, you can access it for free in India. But with open source, you can also build your programs based on this. And if you compare with ChatGPT or a US-based open platform, they are like charging roughly $15 per input token. It's like what you give inside. But this DeepSeek is just charging $0.5. So that's a huge difference. So it's very, very cost effective. So if you are building maybe like you want to build your own image-based processing, you just give a description to make a presentation or like a video. So you can do this in a fraction of it when you are using this new DeepSeek. But we still have to check availability in India and how it works in India or not.
Again, Mr. Sharma, we read about how DeepSeek uses far fewer semiconductors than OpenAI. Now here, I want to quote from a report published by Bloomberg News Agency. It reads, DeepSeek's progress suggests AI engineers have found a way to work around the export bans, focusing on greater efficiency with limited resources. In other words, China overcame US curbs on the export of advanced chips and technology to it. So my question to you is this: how did China pull it off?
Yeah, so the first aspect is China is building their own LLM, which is large language models. And they are using when we compare that OpenAI was, spending around 5 billion a year to train one model. And this DeepSeek is just using roughly 6 million a year. So this is a billion versus million. So having their own LLM models and improvising on their own hardwares and GPUs make this happen, and this also gives a bigger trigger to countries like India and other countries which were thinking that just depriving from access to GPUs of NVIDIA can stop them, and China has proved that, and they used a mediocre level of NVIDIA's H series GPU and make this DeepSeek.
Now, to another question that everybody seems to be asking tonight as we speak, is DeepSeek safe to use? Will my data be safe? Could China steal my data? How much of DeepSeek's operations are influenced or controlled by the government of China? Also, should users be worried about the potential for surveillance or data tracking by DeepSeek? By the way, this might interest viewers. Today, the 28th of January, is International Data Privacy Day as well.
So, a very good question, and I think we have to wait and watch. And definitely, there is an angle of support for Chinese government. And because the basic building block of this DeepSeek is the LLM, which is made in China. So that we have to wait and watch, and we should be very cautious of using it in initial stages. Once they show the transparency where the data is storing, especially if it's not going beyond the geography, like if we are making models in India, the data, the processed data as well as raw data is stored in Indian geography, that we have to wait and watch and see how the legal governance can, limit this. But as of now, it will be difficult to comment at the initial stages.
Mr. Sharma, does DeepSeek's censorship of sensitive topics compromise its credibility as a global AI model?
I think not really, but we have to wait and watch because the computing power it has is sometimes 20 to 50% more than the existing one, with fraction of cost. So it may, it's depends on the users if they.
For instance, Mr. Sharma, we are told that if you ask DeepSeek anything about Tiananmen Square massacre, it says, sorry, I can't answer this question.
Yeah, so that is the great cyber wall of China. So because the language model is based or made by China, so definitely they can eliminate such kind of questions which they want to. Because they are controlling the building blocks. But I think it will be difficult for others who don't have access to LLMs to achieve this.
And last but not the least, Mr. Sharma, could DeepSeek's rise lead to a race to the bottom? Will it compromise ethics? In other words, could DeepSeek's low-cost advantage create a dependency on less ethical production methods?
I think it will create or motivate developing nations that they can also make this LLMs and AI-related solutions. About ethical things, it's all AI. It's depending on the users, how a user uses it, for either for unethical or ethical use. It's just a computing power which you are giving to the users.
Okay.
But definitely, it will motivate countries like India to
Mhm.
build their own LLMs. In India, like companies like Servom and others are already in process of making it. So this will give us a boost of much more, AI models in coming years from developing nations.
All right, on that note, Mr. Prasoon Sharma, thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts and insights with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. Right, moving on, in Sri Lanka, the Attorney General's Department has filed an indictment in the High Court against Namal Rajapaksa. Member of Parliament and son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Namal Rajapaksa has been alleged to be involved in the form of illegal payoffs in the Krish project. The case revolves around accusations of financial misconduct and irregularities linked to the Krish Group's investments in Sri Lanka. The $650 million mixed development project was initiated during the second term of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. In a significant diplomatic and economic gathering coinciding with India's 76th Republic Day, leaders from India and the United Arab Emirates convened in Ras Al Khaimah to fortify their growing partnership and explore new avenues of cooperation. Multiple memoranda of understanding between the Ras Al Khaimah Economic Zone and key Indian institutions, including the Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation and the Confederation of Indian Industry. The summit highlighted the remarkable transformation in bilateral relations, with trade volumes reaching $85 billion last year, positioning the UAE as India's third largest trading partner. The event was marked by the presence of Sheikh Saud bin Sakar Al Qasimi, the ruler of Ras Al Khaimah, and distinguished Indian leaders, including Maharashtra's Industries Minister Uday Samant. All right, now take a look at what else is making news around the world. Homes and streets remained flooded in western France in and around the city of Rennes on Tuesday after Storm Hermania brought heavy rainfall to the region. Hundreds of residents of the region have been evacuated from their homes, but the flooding is expected to intensify. Aircraft maker Boeing reported an annual loss of $11.83 billion, its largest since 2020, as it grappled with problems at its commercial and defense units and the fallout from a crippling strike by U.S. West Coast factory workers. Quarterly adjusted loss per share was $5.9. Indian Space Agency ISRO continues to create new milestones. On Wednesday, it will complete a 100th rocket launch from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, Andhra Pradesh. This 100th mission will deploy the NVS-02 satellite, the second in the navigation with Indian constellation series, designed to provide accurate position, velocity and timing data across India and up to 1,500 kilometers beyond its borders, is a report.
The Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO is set to achieve a historic milestone as it prepares for its 100th rocket launch from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. The launch, scheduled for 6:23 am Indian Standard Time on January 29, 2025, will see the GSLV F-15 rocket carrying the crucial NVS-02 navigation satellite into orbit. Standing at an impressive height of 50.9 meters, the GSLV F-15 will carry the 2,250 kilogram NVS-02 satellite, designed to enhance India's indigenous navigation with Indian constellation NAVIC system. The satellite will be placed in geosynchronous transfer orbit GTO and features advanced navigation payloads in L1, L5 and S bands, along with a sophisticated C band ranging capability. The NAVIC system, India's answer to global navigation satellite systems, provides crucial position, velocity and timing (PVT) services across the Indian mainland and extends up to 1500 kilometers beyond its borders. The system delivers an impressive accuracy metric with standard positioning services better than 20 meters and timing accuracy exceeding 40 nanoseconds. This launch marks several significant technological advancements in India's space capabilities. The NVS series introduces L1 band frequency compatibility, enhancing interoperability with global navigation systems and simplifying integration with mobile devices. These improvements are expected to reduce hardware requirements for manufacturers and enable more straightforward software-based implementation for phone manufacturers. In a parallel development, the Indian government has approved the construction of a third launch pad at Sriharikota with a substantial budget allocation of approximately $460 million. This expansion comes alongside plans for launching 3 more NVS series satellites and the development of a next generation launch vehicle. The mission holds particular significance as it represents the first launch under the leadership of ISRO's new chairman, Dr. V. Narayanan, who took office on January 13, 2025. The launch strengthens India's independent navigation capabilities and demonstrates the nation's growing prominence in global space technology. The NAVIC system serves various commercial and strategic applications, including terrestrial, aerial, and maritime navigation. It has found practical applications in precision agriculture and fleet management while also supporting emerging IoT-based services. With inputs from Anbarasan, Bureau Report, DD India.
On the mission, a former ISRO scientist, Nambi Narayanan, said the launch of a navigation satellite will make India more self-reliant in space technology. Take a listen.
This launch is primarily to launch a satellite which weighs approximately 2,250 kilograms. And this is to have our own navigation system. As you know that without a GPS, you don't have a launch mission. So we want to create our own navigation system so that we don't depend upon somebody else.
And now to all the latest from the Mahakumbh, the largest gathering of humans anywhere on the planet. The Mahakumbh is not only boosting the local economy, but also the country's national economy. DD India's Akshay Dongre reports from Prayagraj.
15-year-old Seva is selling Rudraksh beads on the banks of Ganga River at the Mahakumbh in Prayagraj. Resident of Jabalpur, her family has travelled over 300 kilometers to Prayagraj for the lucrative economic opportunities presented by the gargantuan religious congregation. She says her income has risen multifold as her sales of the beads have skyrocketed here.
ज्यादा भीड़ आती है तो 10-15-20 हजार मिल जाता है और अभी तो 5-6 हजार मिल जाता है।
यहाँ की बात कर रहे हैं आप, तो ज्यादा भीड़ आती है तो कितनी आमदनी हो जा रही है आपकी?
10-15-20 हजार मिल जाता है।
तो जो आमदनी हुई है इससे आप क्या प्लान है, क्या करेंगे?
पढ़ाई करेंगे जाके।
22-year-old Neeraj has set up a tea shop on the banks of Beni Sangam, the holy confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati rivers. He says Mahakumbh has boosted his sales and he will be using the money earned to study further. For small businesses like Neeraj's, the Kumbh is a lifeline. Over 15,000 temporary shops have sprung up, generating 1,200 crores or $150 million in local revenue. From street food to spiritual souvenirs, the informal economy thrives. The Uttar Pradesh government has invested over $550 million in infrastructure, roads, bridges, 24/7 power and sanitation. These upgrades are not temporary. They will benefit Prayagraj long after the pilgrims leave. This year's Mahakumbh spans a staggering 4,000 hectares, featuring 1.5 lakh tents, 30 pontoon bridges, and 400 km of roads. With a budget allocation of 7,000 crores, the event has led to transformative infrastructure upgrades, including a 6-lane bridge, enhanced rail networks, and solar-powered streetlights. The Mahakumbh, which is expected to attract more than 400 million visitors, is likely to see generation of business over 26 billion US dollars, contributing to over 1% of India's GDP.
At Mahakumbh, there will be about 400 million people who will visit here and take dip in the holy confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati, and it will also present a unique economic opportunities not just for the locals but to the entire country, which will not only boost the local infrastructure but will also contribute to the national economy of the country. With camera person Radhakrishna, I'm Akshay Dongre, DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. India's Jasprit Bumrah awarded the Sir Garfield Sobers Award for the ICC Men's Cricketer of the Year.
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. The 38th edition of the National Games kicked off at Maharana Pratap Sports College in Dehradun with a spectacular opening ceremony that showcased Uttarakhand's rich cultural heritage. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi officially declared the Games open, marking a historic moment for Indian sport.
The 38th edition of the National Games commenced with the grand opening ceremony at Maharana Pratap Sports College in Dehradun, marking a significant milestone in India's sporting history. The event showcased the vibrant cultural heritage of Uttarakhand, captivating the audience. Prime Minister Narendra Modi officially declared the Games open, calling it a historic moment in Uttarakhand's journey of development.
हम स्पोर्ट्स को भारत के सर्वांगीण विकास का एक प्रमुख माध्यम मानते हैं. जब कोई देश स्पोर्ट्स में आगे बढ़ता है तो देश की शाख भी बढ़ती है, देश का प्रोफाइल भी बढ़ता है. इसलिए आज स्पोर्ट्स को भारत के विकास से जोड़ा जा रहा है. हम इसे भारत के युवाओं के आत्मविश्वास से जोड़ रहे हैं.
Uttarakhand's history and traditions were displayed on a giant mountain-shaped installation with multiple screens at the center of the stadium, setting the stage for the grand parade of athletes. Teams representing states, union territories, and institutional groups such as services marched proudly, celebrating the spirit of unity and competition.
उत्तराखंड में पहली बार राष्ट्रीय खेलों का आयोजन होने जा रहा है. आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री इस पहले 14 दिन का और अब कुल मिलाकर 17 दिन खेल महाकुंभ का आयोजन प्रदेश के विभिन्न 11 स्थानों पर आयोजित किया जा रहा है, जिसमें देश भर के 10,000 से अधिक खिलाड़ी करीब 35 खेलों में प्रतिभाग करेंगे.
Uttarakhand's sporting stars Lakshay Sen and distance runner Ankita Dhyani led their state's contingent, carrying the flag with pride. In a symbolic moment, Lakshay Sen brought the torch into the stadium and passed it to Prime Minister Modi, who lit the cauldron, officially marking the beginning of the Games. After that, 2,025 participants blew conch shells to mark the start of a new era in Uttarakhand's sports journey. The event seamlessly blended modern and traditional elements with 32 disciplines and 4 demonstration sports. Over 10,000 athletes, officials, and coaches from states, union territories, and institutional teams are participating in this grand event, vying for glory.
National Games 2025 promises to be a festival of sports, uniting the nation, celebrating the aspiration of athletes from every corner of India. It marks a start of new era in Uttarakhand sports journey, igniting hope, inspiration for athletes across the nation. This grand celebration of talent and unity sets the stage for future champions to rise and shine.
India's space spearhead Jasprit Bumrah on Tuesday was awarded the Sir Garfield Sobers Award for ICC Men's Cricketer of the Year. Bumrah played a key role in the home test series against England and Bangladesh and also played a pivotal role in the T20 World Cup win for his side. Bumrah beat a tough competition from Travis Head, Joe Root and Harry Brook to win the prestigious award. He became the first Indian pacer and the fifth Indian to win the award after Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar, Ravichandran Ashwin and Virat Kohli. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can get the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen now to download it. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.